It's time to breathe again. Let the fresh air webcast. So, I'm Charles. Got Patrick with me. What's up, Patrick?
What's going
And
on?
and lots to get to as usual. So we're just gonna jump right into this, and we're gonna start with this Brian Flores lawsuit against the NFL. Lot of nuggets in this bad boy, Patrick. So let we'll just start with this. All right. So Brian Flores, of course, is the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins. He got fired uh after the season ended, I guess about like the next day. And a lot of people, and myself included, were a little surprised about the hire or about the firing.
America's most reliable network.
Oh,
Yeah, it's okay. So
Sorry, man.
it's okay. So my so
Everybody's going
Miami,
crazy, man.
so so Miami, as we know, were pretty bad in 2019, which was Brian Flores' first year. But the wins they did get was more than what people expected. I mean, a lot of people thought they were just pretty much tanking, and more on that in a minute. But a lot of people just thought they were just tanking, but they got 4 or 5 wins in that season. Next season, they were 10-6, just missed the playoffs by a game. And then this year, they started off 1-7 and they finished 9-8. So this is not a good team they have in Miami. And Brian Flores, it appears, was getting the most out of them. Well, apparently there was disagreements between him and the GM, and the owner, Stephen Ross, I guess, decided to part ways with him. Well, Brian Flores is coming out with this lawsuit, Patrick, and here are the big nuggets that I was talking about. The first one is against the owner, Stephen Ross, saying or alleging he offered $100,000 for that 2019 season for every game they lost. So the tanking was in full effect, I guess, in the owner's favor. He was doing everything he can, I guess, to make sure they can get in the running for one of the quarterbacks out there, which that year you had Joe Burrow, you had Tua Tagovailoa. Of course, they ended up drafting Tua Tagovailoa, and then Justin Herbert was in the draft as well. So Miami was all about the quarterbacks, apparently. And you know how we feel about tanking. Tanking is terrible. Yes, Dominic, I see your comment. They're finally gone. They made it further than the Cowboys did. So moving on, moving on, and we knocked the Cowboys out still. So yeah, but but
A loss is a loss. Is a loss.
yes, we'll talk about the NFC Championship in a minute, and of course, here I am showing up as always. But so Patrick, okay, so here's another nugget. So you have the nugget about the owner Stephen Ross offering $100,000 to lose. Terrible, if true. But the other nuggets is with the New York Giants and the Denver Broncos. So this goes back to the Rooney Rule. The Rooney Rule, of course, says every team has to hire, or not hire, interview a minority candidate. So Brian Flores is basically saying, you meant the Chiefs. Okay, Dominic, I see you working. I'm sure you meant the Chiefs. But so Patrick, the Giants nugget. Basically, he felt like he was just coming in there, and this is something that we have talked about. He basically felt like he was coming in there wasting time. They already had their coaching candidate. They already pretty much knew who they wanted to hire. And that's what Brian Flores is alleging here. Like he was just coming here just to meet the Rooney Rule requirement. And
Mhm.
then there is another one. The final nugget is against the Denver Broncos, where I guess he says this is all Flores according to this lawsuit, which is 58 pages. Uh, the Broncos brass showed up an hour late, and they were, I guess, a little tipsy to this as well. So unprofessionalism and basically, again, just trying to fill up the slot or meet the requirement. Now,
Mhm.
Patrick, look, man, there's a lot to unpack there. I guess we'll start with the tanking thing. You know, you and I are both like way against tanking. We think it is ridiculous how they glorify tanking in the sports media. these days, how they just say, "Hey, we're gonna go ahead." He wants Sean Payton to coach him. I hear y'all Cowboys fans want that, Dominic. I see you. But they if this is what was going on against, or if Stephen Ross was doing this, Patrick, we know if this was a player doing this, just like we were talking about before we came on the air, they're banned. They're gone. They're out of here. They are not going to play in the league again. If this is true about Stephen Ross, he needs to sell the team. He needs to go. He needs to go. It's everything about integrity, the integrity of the game, fair play, all that good stuff. Play out, go out there, give it your hardest shot, and you have a owner, if proven true, tanking, like purposely tanking, offering the coach $100,000 to lose games. And we remember that season, Patrick, in 2019. The Dolphins started off getting blasted. They got outscored. It was something stupid. They had like 80 points in the first 2 games.
Yeah, so, it was bad.
Yeah. And so Brian Flores, to pull that out, he won basically despite management. And then they had 2 successful, winning seasons, we'll call them. So if that's the case with Stephen Ross, he's got to go. Here's the second part, Patrick, about the Giants and the Broncos, and this is going back to the Rooney Rule. We both think the Rooney Rule is just kind of a misplaced rule. It's not solving anything. Nothing at all.
It doesn't solve anything.
Huh? Say that again.
It doesn't solve anything. Just because you have to interview, you're still. It's still a. How do I say this? It doesn't solve anything for the minority groups at all. It just says, "Oh, you're giving me an interview." Who gives a crap about an interview? We're looking for, and I'll tell you this. You know me. I don't care what color your skin is. My thing is I worry about one color. One color. What's the color, Charles?
It's green.
It's
green. But
it's
in
green.
this case. But in this case,
I don't understand why they think that that's going to solve it just because you give a minority an interview. It doesn't solve the issue. It doesn't.
Yeah, but in this case, you're looking for the most qualified candidate, right? No matter what color they are.
Mm-hmm. And if he's black, if she's black, I'll hire her. I don't care. I just want the person that I'm putting in that place to not be a yes man or a yes woman. And accountability. That's what we're looking for. And as long as this person's being coachable to the table, I don't care what you are. Just be able to do the job that is asked to do. And if it's black, white, male, female, Hispanic, Indian, I don't care. Japanese, I don't care. Just be able to do the job. That's all I ask.
And Patrick, here's another thing about this too. Now, Bill Belichick is gonna come into a little bit of question here too. Now, personally, I don't think Bill Belichick is gonna be under fire here, but there's a text message record, and I guess when he sent these texts, he sent a congratulatory text to Brian Flores. Apparently, it was meant for Brian Daboll. I guess Bill Belichick, of course, was following what's going on, and he heard Brian Daboll got the coaching job for the New York Giants. Mm-hmm. He accidentally sent the text to Brian Flores, and Brian Flores is like, "Well, what do you mean? Congratulations." Bill Belichick's like, "Well, you got the Giants job, right?" Flores is like, "No, I interview soon, but I don't have the job yet." And then Bill Belichick goes on and says, "Oh, well, from what I'm hearing, man, you pretty much got this in the bag, man. Congratulations." And then Brian Flores is like, just making sure, are you texting me or Daboll? And Bill Belichick says, "Oh, I effed up."
Great.
These are all text messages, Patrick. These are all text messages. And so, like I said, I don't think Bill Belichick's going to come under fire for that, but it's one of those things where I guess it's going to be used maybe as evidence of the process that I guess these teams go through when it comes to trying to hire coaches. So now I do find this a little bit crazy, Patrick. So I'm gonna single out the Kansas City Chiefs here. Reason why I'm gonna single out the Chiefs is because Eric Bieniemy, of course, he's black. He has been the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the thing: the last two guys who were Andy Reid's offensive coordinators, they got jobs. Doug Peterson, he got hired by the Eagles, by the Philadelphia Eagles, and then it was Matt Nagy, of course, got hired by the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm.
So the enemy is over here. The offense is still humming. I don't know what happened to them in the second half. We'll get to that in a minute. But they were doing their thing, and they won a Super Bowl in this 4 year stretch. So to me, that's a little weird. I've heard some things. Oh, his interview process has been a little abrasive sometimes. Blah blah blah. I just find it a little bit hard to believe that he is still kind of struggling to get a head coaching look or job, and the other two, and then all these other dudes who are offensive coordinators, and they haven't been on any Super Bowl winning teams too. And I'm going with Nathaniel Hackett, the Green Bay Packers offensive coordinator. He's now the Broncos coach. Dayball is the Giants coach, and none of these dudes have won Super Bowls. I mean, Kellen Moore was getting hype. Give me a break, Kellen Moore, please. And so I'm not understanding how these other dudes are getting that hype. So I just think I do think that's a little weird, Patrick. I mean, the NFL has a lot of issues, and they try to cover it up in games, and now some of this stuff is starting to get uncovered. And then another thing, Patrick, with the NFL statement, they just came right out like about an hour or so after the lawsuit came out. Oh, this is without merit. Really, dude? I mean, really?
Well,
I know they're gonna deny, but come on, man.
well, this is the first thing that comes to my mind because I saw that the NFL had come out and said, this is without merit. My first thing is, bro, they've been waiting for years to say that statement because they had it in the bag already.
Yeah,
To
they
me,
come out that
that was
quickly.
fast. That was
Yeah,
fast to come out like within an hour of this coming out. They're like, okay, cool. Now it's finally happened. Some, a young black coach come out here, and now they said, finally, we get to say something. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Look, what do we got in the NFL? One black coach,
yep.
Tomlin,
Mike Tomlin for the
Mike Tomlin.
Steelers.
Okay, and Flores has been fired, obviously, or he quit or whatever it was.
Nah,
I
he
didn't
got
look.
fired.
He got fired. Okay, so now we're looking at one black coach, and I mean, I don't. I'll say this. Let me put it this way: the NFL, you're right, has way too many issues. Way too many issues. And to me, the Rooney Rule is just a way to cover it up. That's what it seems like to me. They need to go back and they need to do some deep, deep soul searching. They need to look at their system and just literally throw the things out that is just it's just byproducts and just say, do the job. Because tendencies tend to hire to what is needed for the organization. And when you do that, you tend to put young black men in places where they're going to be successful. You tend to put young white men in places where they're successful. And those things happen almost kind of naturally. You know what I mean? Now, I just feel that the NFL has a lot more issues because they start looking at it and they start worrying about these rules and they start worrying about this and they start worrying about that, and then you know how people
Public outcry,
public
Patrick.
outcry and that's what and people go, okay, well, if you're going to tell me, is it, you're going to tell me I have to hire a black man because I have to, now I'll find a way to hire a white man. And I'm not saying me, I'm just saying that's what people do. They tend to do that. And so just throw it out. It doesn't matter if you're white or black or brown or green or whatever. Just hire the person that is right for your organization and move on. That's it. I don't understand why people would have to keep taking it to a race. I don't understand it. It was like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand that there's an issue, but there shouldn't be. It's just way too much political bullcrap, And it doesn't make sense. Just hire the person that is right for your organization and move on. Let it go. Ugh. It's easier said than done. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. But, God, it's so annoying.
Dominic wants everybody to coach the Cowboys. This is the third dude, Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh.
And now Nick Saban. All right. First of all, I would agree with the Sean Payton, but since he's retired, you ain't getting him. I mean, Jim Harbaugh, chances are he's probably, I think the Minnesota Vikings are looking at him right now.
It's looking more and more like he's going to be the coach of the Minnesota Vikings.
It is. It does. Nick Saban, I'll tell you right now, Nick Saban is not an NFL quarterback or NFL head coach. He's good at college. He is not the person you're going to be looking for a Super Bowl win in the NFL.
And he's not leaving Bama anyway.
And he's not leaving Bama. Bama pays him way too good.
Yeah.
And he is right on easy street right now, so he ain't going nowhere.
Well, Patrick, man, hey, this Brian Flores lawsuit, we'll
probably touch on it next week.
It's going to be interesting, man, to see what else comes out of this. And I guess he and his attorney are supposed to do an interview tomorrow on CBS television. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm pretty sure his attorney will be with them. And I'm guessing it's going to be either CBS this morning. Maybe it'll be the evening news. I'm not for sure. But I'll see if I can catch that and just kind of see what he says about it. And you know how it is, man. I mean, they can only say so much. I mean, there's a lawsuit going on. So yeah. I don't expect anything huge to come out of it. But
hey, man. Hey, go ahead and dig in your couch. I'm going to dig in mine. And let's buy the Broncos, bro.
Yeah, I heard they're for sale.
$4 billion. I think they're starting out at $4 billion, but they said that the price would quickly drop to like $3.7 billion for this team.
I can see that. I can see that price because think about it, Patrick. The Carolina Panthers sold for
2.38 billion.
I thought it was 2.7. I thought it was 2.7.
It might. You know what? I have to go back and look. It might be 2.78, but I do know it was a 2.8 billion.
So you got to think if the Panthers can sell for that much, and the Broncos been around a little bit longer, and
since 1970. Well, that's when the leagues combined was 1970, and they've been around for substantially longer than that. So
yeah, and they've won some championships too. I mean,
1996, 2006.
No, they won 97, 98, and 2016.
97, 98, and 2016. That's right.
18 Super Bowls. So
18,
all right,
19, 20, 21. Hey, let's just put enough let's get enough Super Bowls to put on our fingers and our toes. And then I'll get right here and put one of those Super Bowl rings right there on my nose too.
Yes, that would make it 21. So I hear you.
21, baby.
Well, Patrick, let's move on, man. And listen, we'll keep an eye on that lawsuit from Brian Flores.
Yeah, definitely.
There's going to be a lot coming out of there, I think. Let's talk about Tom Brady, man. So Tom Brady went ahead. He put out, I think, like an 8-page Instagram post, basically to say that he is retiring from the league. So last week we were talking about this, and we did not think he would retire. We felt like, I mean, he could come back and say in a couple of months, I decided I'm gonna come back for another year. So I can see.
Hey, did you see the picture where he has all the rings on his finger?
Yeah.
I'm like, doesn't look right until you put that 8th one on there, bro.
I mean, the thing is,
the symmetry doesn't match.
He's still playing great ball. I mean, the man is 44 years old, and we talked about the stats. He threw 43 touchdown passes.
43 touchdown passes and 12 interceptions last year.
Yeah, it had like 53 or over 5,300 yards.
5,300 and some odd yards total.
Yeah, so the dude is still looks like a guy who's at the top of his game. And for him to walk away, and I get it. Look, I'm not going to get into all the minutia of him going back and forth, him having these situations or having these the decision making process saying it was going to be day to day. And then you heard the report that was dropped by Adam Schefter, who I can't stand. I know I've said that many times. I can't stand Adam Schefter, but he dropped the story with Jeff Darlington over there at ESPN about Tom Brady retiring. So now Schefter could be like, "Oh, I told you I was right." And I'm like, Schefter, I mean, you're not that hot. You were also the same one who said Aaron Rodgers was going to get traded away from the Packers.
Yeah.
so
My sources say.
yeah, like give me a break. And so, but look, Adam Schefter will do this. So say if Aaron Rodgers got traded this year, say he's like, "Oh, I told you."
I
a
told
year
you
and a
they
half
would get
later.
traded. My sources were right.
A year and a half later. I can't stand Adam Schefter. But anyway, I digress. This is about Tom Brady. Salute to him. Definitely the GOAT there. I mean, 7 Super Bowls. I think he had 3 MVPs as well, regular season MVPs, and I think he was a 5-time Super Bowl MVP as well. What can you say? And then even through these quote unquote scandals, I say quote unquote because I feel like the Flake Kate was completely overblown. They could have played that game with a shoe and they were still going to win 45-7 against the Indianapolis Colts that year. It was not going to make it. It was not going to make a difference.
They could have played with a flat football, and Tom Brady was still throwing that ball 55 yards.
Right. I mean, the running back.
Like a frisbee.
Yeah.
But then it still would have went 55 yards,
bro. The running back, LeGarrette Blount, had 186 yards and 3 touchdowns that game. Like, yeah. It wasn't going to make no difference. So, and then even
ball still runs the same.
But look, even after the those scandals, he came back and won 4 Super Bowls, dude. He won a Super Bowl every other year. Literally every other year. They won in 2014, 2016, 2018, of course, those with the New England Patriots, and they won in 2020. The Tampa Bay. They won every other year. So look, all I'm saying is even the biggest hater has to acknowledge the skill, the work ethic. And
I mean, it's just like we say in baseball, man. You can take all the PEDs you want to, but your hand and eye coordination still got to be on top of your game just to hit the 95-mile-an-hour fastball. So, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. We're not sitting here saying, oh, we are agreeing of PEDs by no means, but come on, there still has to be a level of athleticism and skill that comes along with that. And Tom Brady showcased that.
Exactly, man. So I mean, for me, salute, man. It was great watching his career because we watched all his career. I mean, we were teenagers.
Even when he played in Michigan.
Yeah. When
he showed up to the combine in khaki shorts.
Yes. And like in Michigan.
And ran his 40 in a 6.5.
Yeah, when people wanted Drew Henson to play quarterback in Michigan besides Tom Brady. So, I mean, look, we followed this man's career all the way through. And, I mean, just to see the evolution of his game when New England won those 3 Super Bowls back in the 2000s, he was looked at as a game manager, just a guy just, hey, don't mess it up, take care of the football. Our defense and our special teams and our running game, it will carry us through as long as you don't mess it up, really. Now, there were moments where Tom Brady had to make throws, and he was able to make those throws also. And then
how about that year in 2015, 2017, one of those two, where he had no wide receiving core, and we were like, bro, this is going to be the year where we find out if Tom Brady is actually as good as he is. And he took them all the way to the playoffs. I think did he go to the Super Bowl that year and then lost?
So I think you're talking about the 2010 year where there was no receivers, where Randy Moss
no receivers, no running backs.
Yeah. But the tight ends. He used the tight ends, and he won the MVP that year. They didn't make the Super Bowl that year, so this was 2010. That was the Green Bay Packers who won that year. Aaron Rodgers only win. New England, they were so the thing was they were the number one seed that year, but they got knocked out by the Jets in the conference or in the divisional round, and then the Jets, of course, lost to the Steelers in the AFC Championship game. But yeah, and that's the thing. Like once you started utilizing those tight ends, you're like, okay, Brady's good. Brady's good. So Dominic wants to get in with you. Goodbye, Denver.
Yeah, bro.
But
I'll go in $2.
all right.
that way you can save at least $1.
Yeah, we gotta check that piggy bank.
Yeah.
But yeah, hey man, congratulations to Brady, man, on a great career. And
absolutely fantastic career. It was fun watching him play, and I mean the things that he did, the doubt I had in him for years until that 2010 season, bro. And I was like, okay, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of what that man can do. But you know, Dominic's the comments about Big Ben, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees. Yeah, I miss the 3 or 4 years ago Big Ben and watching him play, where he wasn't really a runner. He was just a thrower, and if people tried to tackle him, he would lower his shoulder and hit people. That Big Ben, that's the one I liked watching, because he was a hard man to take down in those years. Drew Brees, the one thing about watching him play, man, and you have to understand, I'm a Falcons fan, and watching him play was absolutely miserable to watch him play. But man, he was phenomenal. I watched that man every freaking year, just absolutely murk teams, and it didn't matter what it was. Short passes, you want to give him short passes, he takes them, they win. You want to give him long passes, 60 yards down the field, they win. You want to give him mid-range on slant, done. And he was so accurate with every man. It was crazy watching that man. But yeah, that I would have to say, out of the three, those three right there, those are going to be missed quarterbacks, man. Definitely.
So I'll say this, and this is what's more remarkable about what Tom Brady is doing. Yeah, I know you're not ever going to forget about that day, Patrick, but
no, I'm not. Good.
But
I should show you my phone that day. I didn't look at my phone but 3 times, and I knew I messed up as soon as I did them. I looked at my phone when we were up 28-3. 66 text messages. I looked at 2, and I said, and both of them were like, Patrick, Super Bowl champs, bro, you cannot lose this. And I said, you are not a Falcons fan. Until that clock hits 0-0, we ain't won. And this is going off of a Minnesota Vikings game that I watched many years back, where there's 2 minutes left on the clock. We're up 20, 2 minutes left on the clock. We lost by 1. So no, until that clock hits 00, we ain't won crap.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, man. Like the what makes it remarkable about what Tom Brady is doing at 44 years old, Big Ben and Drew Brees, I mean, as good as they were shells of themselves when they retired. Drew Brees could not throw well, neither one of them. Drew Brees couldn't throw the ball deep. Big Ben couldn't throw the ball. It didn't look like he could throw the ball anywhere past 10, 15 yards. And so with them, it was time for them to go. I mean, Brady is still looking like he's at the top of his game. And another thing about Big Ben, I mean, of course, he retired on Thursday, which, I mean, that's not really a surprise. Kind of knew that was coming. But I don't know, like Big Ben to me, like great player. Like, I'm not trying to knock a great player, but I guess it's some of the other stuff that kind of got on my nerves with Big Ben. Like, I feel like he wasn't, to be a quarterback, I didn't feel like he was the best leader, because he would like constantly just throw people under the bus. He sit there, man. And like when they're sitting there, they're talking to him. He's got the radio show up there in Pittsburgh, and he's just like, well, I mean, my receivers just didn't do a good job of getting open. Like Big Ben, you're throwing in the triple coverage. You know? Take a little bit of responsibility there. Yeah, give me a break. So that throw that you tried to force into those two safeties and get your receiver killed. Oh, well, that ain't your fault. That ain't got nothing to do with you.
And
Okay.
you know what I love about this is what I loved about Big Ben. He would throw into triple coverage, right? And we used to make fun of Favre when he would do this stupid crap too. But this is
Right.
what Big Ben would do. Big Ben would throw the ball in triple coverage. And most quarterbacks would be like, "Oh, my fault," right? He goes like this.
Right. You should have sigged. Why did
What
you
was
sag?
that?
Yeah.
You zigged instead of zag.
I'm just like, give me a break, Big Ben. Yo, dude, dude, stop. But I mean, but it's crazy, man, because Big Ben retired, and I mean, he didn't even have 2 days before this Brady news came out, and it's just, I don't know, it's wild. I mean, and I guess this is that it's that golden age. I guess you're seeing those quarterbacks. You mentioned Drew Brees, Big Ben, and Tom Brady. We'll see if Tom Brady decides somewhere during the summer that he wants to come back. But right now he's retired, so you're seeing all the older guys just kind of putting it up. Aaron
Hey, man,
Rodgers right now is about the only one left.
and Dominic says he's got one more year. Hey, bro, look, it would. What if Tom Brady did the whole Brett Favre thing and was like back, and they're like no, and then he goes and plays for Atlanta. Yeah, there
Well,
we
I
go.
think
Get
you
rid
know
of
the
Matt Ryan, that piece of crap.
I don't, and about that, Patrick. So before we get on the quick previews or the reviews of the conference championship games, what does Tampa Bay do now? And so if Tom Brady is retired, what is this team going to look like going forward for next year? Now,
Well,
this team before Tom Brady got there, they were not a playoff team.
they're already talking like Gronk is going to retire now.
Yeah, Gronk's pretty much tied to Brady, man. So like, if Brady ain't playing, then I can see him leaving too.
I definitely see him leaving. I mean, even when they were talking about Tom Brady leaving New England a couple years back, or well, a couple years before he left, he was like, "Bro, I'm out before you leave." So, I mean, Grunt leaves, Tom leaves. You're probably looking at a couple other people that leave. Um, I mean, what do? They I, they move on. They get Trask and well, Dominic just
Yeah,
took my
Kyle Trask. Yeah, I was gonna bring that
Kyle
up. I
Trask,
mean,
and,
he's been
and
there
we move
for.
on. It's going to be hard to move on from Tom Brady because everybody he just brought him a World Series. He just brought him a Super Bowl. It's going to be hard to move from Tom Brady, but you put Trask in and see where it goes.
Does this team, and then I guess we can move on after this. Does this team? Is this a playoff team without Tom Brady?
No, I
Yeah,
mean we know what Tom Brady brings to the table. He brings an elevation of game, not to just himself, but he elevates how people play around him. I mean, look at Evans. That dude never caught some of the passes but he elevates his wide receivers. Even when he's a quarterback, he elevates his wide receivers. So do you see the same play out of Evans that you would out of him if Tom Brady's not throwing the ball? No, you don't.
yeah. I mean, I'm
I
with
mean,
you. I
they're
don't.
probably like a 9-8 team, or maybe an 8-9 team.
Yeah, I just remember going back to the year before Tom Brady got there. Of course, Jameis Winston was the quarterback, and I think they were 7-9 that year. So yeah, I can see them being around 9-8, maybe 8-9. You're right. I mean, Tom Brady comes in there, expectations change, he elevates guys. Now, to me, Bruce Arians, a lot of people love Bruce Arians. I don't think he's that good of a coach, personally. I don't think so.
He's like he's
Um,
like he's like Big Ben. He throws people under the bus.
yeah, like I mean, he's I guess a player's coach or whatnot, but like in terms of X's and O's, I don't think he's that great. I've never really thought he was that great. I know he had that 1 year in Arizona where they went to the NFC Championship game back in 2015, but other than that, I don't see great coach in Bruce Arians. He's okay, but not great. Uh, and then they have a lot of questions to answer about their roster. They got some free agents that they're gonna have
Hmm.
to figure out what they're gonna do with, and I can
You know,
see
you know who would be a great coach for Tampa Bay moving forward?
who.
Brian Flores.
you know,
Truthfully,
here's the
I
thing.
think I think he would be great in Tampa.
The thing is, Patrick, with this lawsuit, is he uh, this is jeopardizing his career, man, because he's coming out here, he's making these allegations against the NFL. I wouldn't be surprised if
He
he
never coaches
gets,
again.
yeah, he gets
I wouldn't be
blacklisted
surprised
out the
either.
league.
But I mean, like if he had not said anything, I think his coaching style would go great in Tampa.
I agree with you, man, but Tampa Bay, they're not moving on from Bruce Arians, man. I mean, I think they think he's pretty good. You and I don't think so,
He,
but
he, he,
they
ju-
think
he, ju- he just brought him a Super Bowl.
right. A lot of cachet comes with the Super Bowl victory, of course. Um, so well, Patrick, let's
Hey,
huh?
one more thing. Dominic said he could see Tom Brady coaching Michigan's team. Hey, you never know. Jim Harbaugh is going to move to Minnesota. You might see Tom Brady down there. Who knows?
Wouldn't be surprised, man. I mean, I guess it depends. Tom Brady talks a lot about family.
Yeah.
And I think they really love it down there in Tampa. I wouldn't be surprised if they just kind of just kinda take it easy. Like I don't think look, if Tom Brady retired, I don't see him doing anything football related, at least for the next year or so. I really feel like he's just gonna want to chill and kick it. It sounds good. Don't get me wrong. Him coaching Michigan sounds great, but I I don't know if he would be in that all in stage to where he could put everything else into Michigan, especially if he just retired. So
Yeah.
if he's gonna sit here and he's gonna talk about being with family, oh, never mind. We going to Ann Arbor, baby. We coaching. I don't think he's doing
And
that,
you,
man.
and you think I get an off season in the NFL? Guess what? You don't get an off season in the NCAA because as soon as your season's over, start worrying about recruiting.
well,
Probably.
Dominic, I don't know, man. Eat that TV 12, avocado ice cream. Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think he's
He's
right
got two. He's got two young boys. He's got to raise as a quarterback too.
there. You go. There you go. Well, Patrick, let's move on to these conference championship games. We'll start with the Cincinnati Bengals beating the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24 in overtime, mind you. Oh, and wait a minute. Go figure, Patrick. Defense, defensive people get paid too. They actually made a stop. Go figure.
No, right?
so I'll just say this, Patrick. Number one, you know us. Like we will definitely get more into the Cincinnati Bengals and the LA Rams playing in the Super Bowl. Definitely more next week. I mean, they're not playing for another week and a half.
Yeah.
So look, congrats to Cincinnati. Definitely did not see this coming. We've talked a lot about how it was surprising just to see them win the AFC North, let alone now they're going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Great win. They came back from 21-3. 21-3 in Arrowhead. They came back and did that. Shut the great Patrick Mahomes down. Oh, and by the way, I just want to say this about Kansas City real quick. Can we stop this dynasty talk? Can we please let's tap the brakes on the dynasty talk. Let's tap the brakes on Patrick Mahomes being the greatest quarterback of all time after playing just 4 years. Like we just talked about a quarterback who's got 7 Super Bowl rings. So unless he's sniffing that, he's got one. It's a good start. Patrick Mahomes has had a good start to his career, has led the team to 4 straight AFC championship games, all hosted, all hosted in Arrowhead. But he got the one Super Bowl to show for it. Year after, they got blasted by Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, and now they're out in the AFC Championship game. What's happening? Looks like a downward spiral right now, and these AFC teams are coming. They're coming. I mean, so look, Kansas City. I feel like this. We talked about how good that defense was, Patrick. To me, that defense wasn't that great when they played good offenses. When they played Cincinnati's torched them twice. Even the Chargers, who I think is one of the most overrated teams in the world. I mean, the Chargers put 28 points on them. And if Brandon Staley would stop going for it on fourth down from his own goal line, then maybe the Chargers could have been in the playoffs too. But
Yeah, we did that twice.
okay. but
And both times I went this.
Yeah, like why, dude?
Why?
Punt the ball.
Dude, it's the second quarter.
Right. so,
Like,
so the thing is, Patrick, I think after that play, and I see you, Dominic. Yeah, the coin flip. I hear you. I mean, the Chiefs won a coin flip. A lot of people thought it was over for Cincinnati. But Cincinnati they just said, screw it, man. We're just going to play this defense, get the ball back, and which they got on a great play by Bates to knock that ball out of Tyreek Hill's hands, and Von Bell got the interception. Patrick Mahomes, he turned into the guy, or back into the guy, trying to go big game hunting all the time. We have said that he's been patient. He's been patient. He's learned to be patient and take what is given to him. And he did that in the first half. But then that last play, Patrick, where Cincinnati was down 21-10 and Kansas City could have kicked the field goal, but they decided to go for the touchdown. And they ran that sideline pass to Tyreek Hill, got tackled. And it seemed like after that play, Kansas City was just trying to go big game hunting all the time. And for the defense Cincinnati was playing, the different looks, it played into their hands. But so Cincinnati, Cincinnati outcoached Kansas City, man. They did. Zach Taylor and his staff, they outcoached Kansas City. And I mean, they don't have Kansas City, they got to go back to the drawing board. Andy Reid got to be better. Eric Bieniemy got to be better. Steve Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator, they got to be better. They got outcoached.
And not only are you looking at the people on the sidelines that got to be better. Now you got to look at that. You got to look at that offensive line and that defensive line. Now you got to say y'all got to be better. Patrick Mahomes, you can't be taking these big shots down the field every other play, almost every play in the second half, thinking that you gotta match this Bengals team score for score when you got a 14-point lead.
Right.
You know? So
they played like they were down 14.
They played like they were down when they were up. And that's what I kept going. I was like, y'all are up 21-10, and y'all are playing this game that y'all literally lost 4 in a row on doing just this. I don't understand what was going on. And a lot of people, like Dominic said, is like a lot of people were like, oh crap. They won the coin toss. Patrick Mahomes, even Patrick Mahomes threw that thing off, like he threw his jacket off like he done won. And I was like,
Superman.
I said, that don't mean crap right now. Because that Bengals defense was all over him the entire second half. And I was like, and nothing's changing just because you're 5 minutes later. You know what I mean? It took Kansas City 5 minutes to drive the entire field just to get that field goal. At that point, I was like, no, I don't see this, man. I was like, I know I picked Kansas City to win, but I was like, but they ain't winning. They're not winning. And Cincinnati ended up.
I think we had them winning by what, a touchdown? It was something like a touchdown.
I had them winning by 3. Because truthfully, I have to admit, man, you look at this whole entire playoffs. Every game has been by 3 points.
Yes.
Every game, and it's either going into overtime or it's a last-minute field goal. Every game. So when I saw that and it went into overtime, I was like, Kansas City ain't winning this game. They're not moving the ball, and I was like, nothing's going to change. Patrick Mahomes has been hit like this for 2 quarters already. He's already set in his ways right now. He ain't doing nothing. And when that ball got intercepted, I was like, yeah, that is about par for the course for them right now.
Kansas City looked like that hasn't been in the AFC Championship game for a while in that second half. I thought that was supposed to be Cincinnati. Cincinnati was the team that hadn't been in the AFC Championship game in like 3 decades. Kansas City's been to 4 in a row of these, and
Yeah.
they look like the ones who were
And
self-destructing.
Joe Burrow, the first half did not. He looked like he has not been there ever, which it's true he hasn't. That second half, he looked like he'd been playing in the AFC Championship for several years. He was calm in that pocket. He busted out a few run plays when he had to, and he just moved the ball. Man, you got to give a lot of credit to Joe Burrow, man. And all I got to say is, hey, there's a lot of SEC players in that Super Bowl this year, bro.
Give the
SEC,
offensive
SEC, SEC.
give the offensive line for Cincinnati credit too, man. They only
Tons.
gave up, I think they gave up just 1 sack after giving up 9 to the Tennessee Titans last
Mhm.
week.
And that one
So
back came in the second quarter.
yeah, and so give them credit. They played better. I think Cincinnati did a good job of getting the ball out of Joe Burrow's hands as well, like running the slants, running the quick out screens. Because who was it? Samaji Pirine, got that touchdown off a screen.
Hmm.
Real quick screen that made it 21-10 in the first half. So yeah, just props to Cincinnati, and yeah, Kansas City. You gotta go back to the drawing board.
Go back to drum.
Um, NFC Championship game. I will say this: I am happy for Matthew Stafford. I'm happy that he is getting the chance to play in the Super Bowl. Of course, I can't stand that he went to the Los Angeles Rams because that's in our division. But I am happy to see him get a shot because we have all said, or you and I have said, this is a very good quarterback. But it's
Yep,
hard to bring up Detroit. I mean, it's just bad.
it is.
It's just tough in Detroit. And even still, he put up some very good numbers. And people will say, well, those are empty stats. Not playing in Detroit, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, I can agree with that in a good amount of cases. I mean, sorry, Dominic. I say this about Dak Prescott all the time, but sorry, not about that. But Matthew Stafford playing for Detroit. Those aren't empty stats, man. Like, you're doing everything you can to try to elevate that franchise. And as it was, I think Detroit made the playoffs 3 times while he was there.
Mhm.
Definitely in 2014. Um, yeah, 2014, 2011. I want to say they made it in 2016 too. Not for sure on the 2016. I know 2011 and 2014 they made it.
Yeah.
But I mean, Detroit just had a tough time keeping good players there because you had Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, Megatron, and then you had Ndamukong Suh on the defensive line being a beast as well. But I mean, they just couldn't quite get over that hump. They were first round exits each time they made the playoffs. But to
Yeah.
see Matthew Stafford come to the Rams with a better team around him and have a chance to go to the Super Bowl, I am happy for that. So if there is anything that I guess I can say about the Rams, it's good to see Matthew Stafford doing that, and they fought. We had them down 17-7, Patrick, and we
Hmm.
didn't close the deal. So the Rams continue to play. Cooper Cup is a beast, and he
God,
continues to get
he's
open.
freaking nasty, man.
Yeah, that dude is
I've never seen a man get open with double team.
right.
Not
Yeah,
like
that's what
he
I'm
does.
saying. He's getting double teamed and he's
Not
getting
like he
open.
does, man. He gets open and like I'm sitting here watching him and I'm like, how the hell did he get open with double team? And one of these corners is like one of the elite corners in all the league, and yet Cup still gets open. I was like, how is he doing it? And then you got to give Matthew Stafford tons of credit because he is literally throwing that ball before Cup is even open.
Yeah, their chemistry
It
is
is
ridiculous, man.
it is just insane how well those two work together.
So yeah, for me, man, I mean, of course, I'm hurt. I am hurt. Being a 49er fan, I'm really, really hurt. I think we let a golden opportunity slip away there. We had an interception. Jaguarski Tart dropped an interception when we were up for 17-14. I knew that was going to come back and bite us. I'm just like, oh God. that hurt. But yeah, the Rams still had to walk through that door, and they made the plays and the throws necessary, the stops, that defensive line, which this is the main thing also that I'm gonna say about the Rams too. They did a very good job against our running game. And in the
Yeah.
6 games that we played against them that we won, that was the thing. We were playing bully ball. We were playing big boy ball against them, and the Rams couldn't do anything with it. That was not the case this game. The Rams held up very well against our running game. And of course, if you hang in there against our running game like that, that's going to put the game in the hands of Jimmy Garoppolo, and that could go either way.
Yeah.
And in this case, it went south. So
Yeah, it's hard to put the game in Garoppolo's hands like that. I mean, it is. It's hard, but honestly, there's not really many quarterbacks you can put the game in their hands, we're looking at a chance of it going a very positive way. Tom
it's a
Brady,
very good defensive line for the Rams.
yeah. So it give tons of credit for Garoppolo, man. He did the best he could. But like you said, man, that Rams defense they stepped up, and what better way for the Rams to end a 6-game skid than to put your ultimate rivals out in an NFC championship. So congratulations to the Rams as well as the Bengals.
All right, man. Well, like I said, as a hurting 49er fan, hey, I show up no matter what. That's what we do. No excuses.
I know how you feel. I know how you feel.
Yeah,
so
hey,
I'm very sympathetic for you.
Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate it. Well, before we get on out, man, let's do our weekly bashing of Major League Baseball. because Patrick, they came in, they had another round of talks, and I guess today the talks stalled, and now the spring training is in danger of at least being delayed now. That if they're already saying that, it's February 1st, dude. February 1st. Spring training starts on February 16th. And they're already saying, oh yeah, man, it might be delayed. What? You still got 2 weeks. Patrick, this tells you, man. It seems like we say it every week about Major League Baseball, but these dudes, owners, players union, whatever, they cannot get out of their own way. It is ridiculous, man. And start to train for permanently losing fans. Start it right now, man. If it hasn't started already, start it right now, because the minute now spring training is spring.
I can tell you right now, as a huge baseball fan, and I love baseball. Baseball is my favorite sport of all time. I love it. If this season is missed, I'll stick to NCAA and Little League World Series.
So Dominic says, "Bro, I can't wait any longer. I need baseball." Well, Dominic, I'm sorry to say, man,
you waiting,
dude.
Hey, you know what, Dominic? You can look on the bright side. There's no lockout in NCAA. There's no lockout in college, baby. So we're just gonna be watching college baseball. And when that Little League World Series comes in, man, that's fun to watch too. Those kids can play some absolute ball,
man. And the thing is, man, because I'm looking at it. So of course I'm here in DFW, Dallas Fort Worth. And I mean, the Rangers, they were making moves, man. They picked up Corey Seager. And they signed somebody else too. I forget if it was a pitcher. I want to say it was a pitcher that they had picked up. That was one of the, or maybe it was another infielder. I know Seager was one of them, but I mean, they were making moves, so it was going to be interesting to see what the Rangers were going to do. But
oh god, and all the free agents out there,
yeah, it's a bunch.
There's so many. I mean,
and they're just
free agents out there, man.
And they're just chilling. They're just chilling because
Max Scherzer sitting out there, Freddie Freeman sitting out there. What's that other pitcher's name? Oh god, he played for LA, and he's sitting out there.
Kershaw.
Kershaw.
Yep.
He's sitting out there.
Yep. That's who it was. Simeon. Marcus Simeon.
Marcus
That's
Simeon.
who the Rangers got. Yeah, because I was like, yo, the Rangers got another dude. I know they got Seager and they got Simeon.
They signed Simeon like a week before the whole lockout happened.
Right. So that infield, that second base shortstop
nasty.
battery is looking nasty. And
Yep.
so that's why I was like, man, I want to see what the
You
Rangers
can have
do.
you can put anybody over at first base and it ain't gonna matter.
No.
Just get somebody that can hit the ball. You may be blind, but you can hit the ball. That's all you need.
So man, it was. I mean, some of these, like you said, these free agents, they just out here, they chilling, they kicking it, man. They can't do anything because it's locked out. But Patrick, I know we keep saying,
and that's just the three names that's on my head that came off my head that are sitting out there chilling. There's tons of them that are like blockbuster moves. Like whoever gets them, the shortstop for the Astros. What's his name?
Yeah, Correa. Carlos Correa.
He's sitting out there.
Mm-hmm. And I had heard he was talking to the Tigers. I guess now maybe this was before the lockout, but if you put him there and they got Javier Baez. I mean, Baez is kind of hot or cold at the plate. Pretty good infielder though. But if you put him with Correa, the same thing like what you did with the Rangers with Simeon and Seager. That's a nice battery. Nice part of the battery anyway, as they call it, between the catcher and pitcher. Second baseman, second baseman, shortstop, and center fielder.
Dodgers outfielder. I can't think of his name. I can't think of
it was Bellinger. Is it Bellinger? Is Bellinger out there?
Bellinger. He's out there
too.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dodgers might look dramatically different.
Well, a lot of those contracts came up. Like this year. Bellinger's out there. I even think the catcher is out there right now. I'm gonna have to pull this up and see what the free agency looks like for the Dodgers.
Yeah, because that's why it makes sense for them to make that trade for Turner. Well, Scherzer and Turner, but Turner is their Trey Turner is their
Mark McClennan's out there. Dylan Bundy, Rich Hill, Nick Martinez, Corey Knebel, that guy, yeah. Hunter Renford, Jackie Bradley, Javier Baez.
So
James Paxton. I mean, dude, the list is insane with who's out there.
It's just crazy, man, because we might not. It's looking like we might not even have a season. Yeah, I mentioned that Dominic, that Baez signed with Detroit, and so that's what we were talking about, like because they were talking. Yeah, because he did sign
right before that thing.
Yeah, Baez signed, but they were also talking to Correa too. And so if you put him,
they even talked about Correa going to play first base for the Atlanta Braves. That's like, hey, if he's willing to play first base, I'll take it. That's a very nice replacement for Freddie Freeman.
Well, Patrick, look, man, I'm just gonna say this before we get ready to get on out, man. They're already talking about spring training being delayed. That is a terrible sign when spring training is not supposed to begin for another 2 weeks. And so we don't know when the next round of talks is going to start, but we don't have any reason to believe the talks are going to go anywhere at this point. I'm prepared for another 60-game season, and I know you're prepared for no season at all.
I'm prepared for no season, and honestly, even if it went to no season, I got plenty of baseball to watch with college, man. Those SEC teams are freaking solid this year, so I'm gonna enjoy watching college baseball. I'm good.
Well, all right.
So I'm good with that too.
Well, on that note, that will conclude this latest edition of the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel and smash that subscribe button and keep the lights coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Dominic, hey man, as always, thanks again for participating with us, leaving those comments. And for the rest of y'all know we do this live every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock. So come and join us. You're missing a good time. Trust us.
Yeah. So, Dominic, get your friends. Tell them come on.
Yeah. So with that, everybody take care. Have a great rest of the week, and we will see you soon.